Okay, so we'll go on the next problem. Okay, so last time we have discussed this problem that a coin is placed and I hope you got the answer for this problem. Fine. Now next problem is that a 70 kg man stands in contact against the inner wall of a hollow cylindrical drum of radius 3 meter, rotating about its axis with 200 revolution per minute. The coefficient of friction between the wall and the clothing is 0.15. What is the minimum rotational speed of the cylinder to enable the man to stick to the wall when the floor is suddenly removed? Okay, fine. So can you try this problem out? Okay, so let us do this problem first of all. Okay, a 70 kg man stands in contact against the inner wall of a hollow cylinder. Fine. So this is a hollow cylinder which we have drawn like this. Okay, a person is standing against the wall of the hollow cylinder, which means the person would be standing at this point. Okay, now this hollow cylinder is revolving with an angular speed of how much? 200 revolution per minute. Okay, now the coefficient of friction, the radius of this cylinder is how much? 3 meters. Okay, the coefficient of friction between the wall and the clothing is 0.15. Okay, what is the minimum rotational speed so that the man is sticking to the wall? Okay, now to find this, first of all, let us draw the free body diagram of this man. Okay, now if you draw the free body diagram of this man, the mass mg will be acting downward. Okay, the wall of this cylinder will exert a normal reaction on this person. Okay, now due to the rotation of the cylinder, there will be centrifugal force acting on this man, that would be away from the center, that is mv square by r. And now this weight mg is balanced by the friction force which is opposing the motion of the body, which means the friction force will act at this in the upward direction, because mg will try to pull the man downward. It is the friction who is preventing the man from sliding down. So we have drawn the free body diagram of this man. Now if we uh, if we take horizontal forces, then normal must be equal to mv square by r. So we get one equation from there. Fine. Now we know that limiting friction fl is equal to mu times of normal reaction. Therefore limiting friction will be equal to how much? That is mu mv square by r. Now in order to prevent the man from sliding down, the limiting friction fl should be greater than or equal to, okay, should be greater than or equal to this mg. Okay, the friction should be greater than or equal to mg. Fine. So if you put this condition here, we'll get mu mv square by r should be equal to mg, or should be less than equal to mg. Okay, get cancelled out, we get what? Velocity, minimum velocity is equal to root of, minimum velocity will be equal to root g r by mu. Okay, root g r by mu. Fine. Okay, root g r by mu. Now what we have to find? We have to find, I think, rotational speed. Okay, so what is the minimum rotational speed so that that is g by r. Okay, now we know that rotational speed velocity is equal to omega into r, so we can say omega r must be equal to root of g r by mu. Okay, so from here we can get the value of omega. So omega will be equal to root of g by mu r. Okay, Now value of g is how much? We can take 10. Value of mu is how much? 0.15 into 3. So if you solve this, you'll get the angular speed to be equal to 4.67 radian per second. Okay, fine. So I think you understood this problem. Fine. So the same concept will be for that wheel. Means if you have seen that in some circus or something, there is a vertical wall. Okay, there will be cylindrical vertical wall like this. Okay, and a person will be riding the bicycle or riding the bike across the vertical wall. Okay. Now this is the question which we have discussed. The same concept will be that wheel. Okay, in which a person with a car or a bike is moving along the vertical wall of this cylindrical surface. Again, the concept will remain same, that a car will be there, mg will be acting downward. Okay, friction will balance the mg. Okay, then we will have centripetal force mv square by r. Then we will have the normal reaction. Okay, the same concept will be for the dead wheel also. Understood? Okay, next problem. The next problem is that a particle of mass m is moving in a circular path of constant radius such that the centripetal acceleration is varying with time. Okay, which is given by AC equal to k square RT square, where k is some constant. Find the power delivered to the particle by the force acting on it. Okay, so try to get this. Okay, a particle of mass m is moving. A particle of mass m is moving in a circular path of radius r such that its centripetal acceleration is varying. The centripetal acceleration is varying as k square rt square. Okay, we have to find the power delivered. So can you get the answer for this? Mk square rt. Okay, it is mk square r square t. The answer is mk square r square t. Okay, fine. So let us pause solve this problem now. Now that we know that centripetal acceleration AC is given by how much? That is equal to k square r t square. Okay. Now we know that centripetal acceleration can also be written as v square by r. Okay. So v square by r will be equal to k square r t square. Okay. So from here we can find the value of v. So v will be equal to how much? V will be equal to v square must be equal to k square r square k square r square. Okay, k square r square t square. Okay, k square r square t square. So from here we can get the value of velocity. Okay, or the speed of the particle, that would be equal to k r t. So k r t is the speed of the particle. Now here one very good concept is there, that if you look at the a particle, here the speed of the particle is changing. The speed of the particle, which is v, is equal to k r t. With time, the speed of the particle is increasing. Okay. Now, if you look at this in a circular motion, I told you that whenever the particle moves in a circular motion, it has two acceleration. One is what? Centripetal acceleration, that is acting towards the center. Other is tangential acceleration, which is acting towards the tangent of the circular motion. Okay. Now, if you look at the circular motion or centripetal acceleration, the work done, okay, the work done by centripetal acceleration will be zero. Why it will be zero? Because the displacement and acceleration are perpendicular to each other. Okay, so there is no work done by the part by the centripetal acceleration. So only one work done will be there, which will be tangential acceleration. So we can write here as tangential acceleration at will be equal to how much? That would be equal to dv by dt, because tangential acceleration is what? Rate of change of speed of the particle, which is dv by dt. So if you look at this, we can write here as d by dt, and velocity is how much? K r t. Okay. So from here, can we get the value of, okay, so from here we can get the value of tangential acceleration at, that must be equal to k into r. Okay, that is the value of tangential acceleration. Now what is the force, tangential force? That must be equal to mass into tangential acceleration, that is m, that is equal to k mkr. That must be equal to m mkr. This is the tangential force. Now we know that power is equal to force into velocity. Now tangential force is mkr. Velocity is how much? We have already found the value of velocity, that is krt. So we can put the value of velocity here, that is krt. So we'll get m square m k square r square t is the power delivered. Okay. So here the most important point was that the work done by the centripetal acceleration will be zero. And why it will be zero? Because the displacement of the particle and this centripetal acceleration are perpendicular to each other. If they are perpendicular, the work done will be zero for the centripetal acceleration. Okay, or centripetal force, work done will be zero, because force and displacement are always perpendicular to each other. Okay, so I hope you all got you all got the answer for this. Okay. Now next is the turning of a level road. Okay. So when we are turning a vehicle, okay, turning of the vehicle, turning of vehicle. Okay. Now basically when you are turning a vehicle, okay. Now if you turn a vehicle, like if some circular path is given to us like this, okay. Now this circular path will have some radius also. Okay. It will have some radius r. Fine. Now whenever the car is turning on a circular road like this, okay, because of this radius r, or because of this circular path, there would be what? Centripetal acceleration, which would be centrifugal acceleration, which would be acting away from the center, which means on this car there will be a centrifugal acceleration, that will be mv square by r. Okay, that would be acting away from the center. Fine. Now in order to have a safe turning of the car, the friction force should be enough so that the vehicle will not go away from the road. Okay, so for that, because we know that whenever the car is moving on a circular path, a centripetal force is there, which is acting away from the normal, away from the center. Due to that, the vehicle can go away from the circular road. Okay, in order to prevent that, a friction should be acting, which would be opposite to the motion of the, which would be opposite to the centripetal force. And if the limiting friction value is more than this mv square by r, then the car can have a safe turning on the circular path. Okay, that is what the circular path. That is what the turning of the vehicle, or we can just say safe turning of the vehicle. Now, for the safe turning of the vehicle on the circular path, this limiting friction, okay, that must be greater than or equal to the centrifugal force acting on this car. That is mv square by r. Okay, so from here we can say that velocity v will be equal to, now limiting friction. Now if you think of the limiting friction value, then we if you look at the car here, Okay, this car will have weight mg which is acting downward, and the normal reaction will be there from the road on the car. Okay, fine. So we know that the limiting friction must be equal to mu times of normal reaction. Now what is the normal reaction here? The normal reaction will be equal to the weight of the car. So can we say that limiting friction is equal to mu mg? Fine. So by using the equation number 2 and substituting in equation number 1, we'll get what? Mu mg should be greater than or equal to mv square by r. Okay. So we get uh, root of mu gr should be less than equal to v. And what is the minimum speed, maximum speed for the safe turning? The maximum speed for the safe turning is the maximum speed for safe turning will be equal to v, that is equal to root of mu g r. So for the safe turning, the velocity should be equal to root mu g r. Okay, that is when the vehicle is moving on a circular track. That is the reason why. That is the reason if some rainfall is there. Okay, so we know that when there is a rainfall, the friction between the road and the vehicle will reduce. So that is why whenever you are driving, whenever we are driving the vehicle in a wet surface, then there is more chance of slipping as compared to the dry surface, because in dry surface friction will be more. In a wet surface friction will be less. So if friction is less, there is chances of slipping of the vehicle. Okay, so that is what the turning of the vehicle in a circular path. Understand? Friction should be greater than centrifugal force. If it is less than centrifugal force, then centrifugal force will be more than friction force. Then what will happen? The car will slip from the road. Okay, because the centripetal force will be greater than the friction force. Now if you remember that limiting friction is the maximum static friction. Okay, so maximum value of friction can be limiting friction. So if the value of the friction is less than limiting friction, then it is a static friction. Whenever static friction is there, then static friction force will balance the mv square by r. Therefore the car will not slip on the while turning on the road. Okay, did you all understand this or not? Okay, now that is the maximum speed which a car can turn, that is root of mu g r. Okay, while turning the vehicle on a circular path of radius r. Now, second way of preventing the car from slipping is the banking of the roads. Okay, we can simply by banking of the road we can prevent the car from slipping. Okay, banking means what? We are making the one cir- see, basically this is not a triangle. Okay, it would be a circular path like this. You can see that if you have ever seen that any racing tournament, you will see that in bicycle race or something, you will see that whenever circular path is there, they will make the outer radius to be higher than the inner radius. So this is basically the outer radius. This is the outer radius of the circular path. This is the outer radius. Okay, there will be some center here, and this is your inner radius, and this path will be a circular path. It is not a triangular path, it is a circular path like this. Okay, now now if we simply bank the road, then also we can prevent the car from slipping, or we can prevent any car or bicycle or bike from slipping if we simply bank this road. Now if you look at this, this is the inner radius of the road. This is the inner radius ri. This is your outer radius. And you know that, and we can see that the inner radius, the outer radius is h height greater than the inner radius. Okay, and this is a circular path. Okay, over this circular path here we will have a vehicle. Okay, which is moving on this circular part. Okay, now let us suppose the banking angle is theta. Fine, and this is a car which is there. Now we know that If we draw the free body diagram of this car, we know that mg, which is the weight of the car, must be acting downward. Mg, okay, fine. The mg will act downward. Okay, now this wedge or this banking, this wedge will exert a normal reaction on this car that will always be perpendicular to the surface of the surface of this bank. Okay, fine. Now this normal, now here who is balancing this car from slipping? The normal, the part of the normal is balancing the car from slipping. We can see that normal will have two components. One will be along horizontal, that would be equal to n sine theta, and other will be along vertical, that is n cos theta. Now since this car is moving with velocity v, it will have centripetal force that would be away from the center, that is mv square by r. So if you draw the free body diagram here, we can clearly see that the n cos theta component, the component of the normal cos theta, is balancing the weight mg. So n cos theta must be equal to mg. And second thing, what? The component of the normal, that is n sine theta, is balancing what? It is balancing centripetal force, that is mv square by r. Now r is the radius of the bank. Now one thing more, this the outer radius and inner radius means the bank is the difference between outer and inner radius is not too much. Therefore, we only take the radius of the uh, radius of the circular path. Okay. Now this is equation number one. This is equation number two. If we divide 2 by 1, we'll get what? Tan theta must be equal to v square by rg. So tan theta must be equal to v square by rg. Therefore, the velocity v must be equal to root of rg tan theta, which means if the velocity of the vehicle is root of rg tan theta, if the velocity of the vehicle is root of rg tan theta, then the vehicle can safely turn over the circular path which has a banking, which has the banking. So this is the velocity for the safe turning of the circular of the car which has a banking. Now if you look at this, here we have not used the concept of friction. Without friction also we can see that this car can safely turn on the circular path. And what is the angle of banking? So from here we can find the angle of banking, that would be equal to theta, that is tan inverse of v square by rg. So if this is the angle theta, if this is the angle of banking, then the car can safely turn on the bank road. Okay. Now in the practical condition, this theta is very small. I have drawn this in order to understand you, but the theta is very small. Okay, banking can be less than 10 degree. Okay, so if banking is less than 10 degree, then we can write here as tan theta, which is the angle of banking, should be approximately equal to sine theta. Okay, which is approximately equal to sine theta. Okay, now if this is the height of the vehicle, and b is the width of the inclined plane, b is the width of the inclined plane. Okay, b is the width of the inclined plane, so we can take sine theta must be equal to h by b. Okay, so sine theta must be equal to h by b. So from there we can see that the height of banking h will be equal to, now tan theta is how much? Tan theta is v square by rg. So we can put the value here, v square by rg into v. That is the height of the banking. So if the height of the bank is v square by rg into v, where b is what? V is the width of the road. V is the width of the road. This is the value of the b. Okay, and h is the height of the bank. Okay, so the height of the bank will be equal to v square by rg into b. Okay, so I think you understood that without friction also we can turn the vehicle if we simply bank the road. Banking the road means the inner radius, the outer radius would be higher than the inner radius, and the height of that outer radius will be h. Okay. Now in the most practical condition, there will be both friction as well as banking. So in the practical condition, we will have both banking and friction. Okay. Fine. Okay, you can see the slide here. Okay. Now, if we see here, if we discuss more on this banking, that for the safe turning on the bank road, the velocity of the car should be equal to root of rg tan theta. Now, if you think if the velocity is more than root rg tan theta, then what will happen? The car will slip, okay, and the car will try to move on the outer edge, okay. The car will try to move on the outer edge, okay. So if the velocity for the safe turning of the road, if velocity is root rg tan theta, if the condition arrives that if velocity is greater than root of rg tan theta, root of rg tan theta. Now, if this condition arrives that velocity is more than root of rg tan theta, okay, then in that case, the this car or this vehicle will try to move on the outer edge. Outer edge means it will try to slip on the outer edge. Fine. Now, if now who will prevent this slipping of the outer edge? The friction which is present on the banking road. So in the actual condition, we will have friction also. So if the velocity is greater than root rg tan theta, this car will try to slip on the outer edge. So there will be friction which will try to prevent the slipping of the car on the outer edge. So friction will move opposite to the direction of uh, the slipping of the car. Okay. Now again now we will have more component of friction, like friction is there. One, we will have normal force which is perpendicular to the surface, okay. Normal will have two component. One will be what? N sine theta. If I assume this is theta, okay, other component will be what? N cos theta. Similarly, friction will also have two component. One will be along horizontal, that would be F cos theta. The other will be along the vertical, that is what? F sine theta. Okay, F sine theta. Okay, and weight mg will also act downward, that is mg. Okay, now a centripetal force will also act, which will be away from the center of rotation. Okay, that is mv square by r. So we can see we have drawn the free body diagram of the car which is moving on a banking road which has friction, and if the velocity is more than root rg by tan theta, okay, then again we have to do what? We have to balance the force on horizontal side and vertical side. So if you balance the force on horizontal side, we'll get what? N sine theta, n sine theta plus f cos theta should be equal to n sine theta. That is the first equation we'll get. Second equation we'll get will be what? N cos theta plus n cos theta, or wait, sorry, I made a mistake. Wait. First equation will be n sine theta plus f cos theta should be equal to mv square by r. That is first equation we'll get. Second equation we'll get when we balance the force on the vertical. That is mg plus f sine theta must be equal to n cos theta. That is equation number 2. So if you will solve all this equation, we'll get the value of the safe turning of the vehicle. Okay, and the velocity will come as after solving. Okay, after putting v equal to mu times of normal reaction, after solving this, I'm not going to solve this. Simply I'm telling you the formula, that after solving these two equations, we'll get v equal to square root of tan theta plus mu. Okay, tan theta plus mu divided by 1 minus mu tan theta rg, where r is the radius of the banking road. Okay, tan theta is the angle and mu is the coefficient of friction between the road and the car. Now this formula has been asked in the NEET exam one time. They have given this formula. They have given this condition, so you have to remember this formula. Okay. So basically we have discussed three formulas here. First formula is that turning of the vehicle when you are moving in a circular path. Okay, then what is the safe or maximum speed? That would be square root of mu rg. Okay, second is the banking of the road. So when you are when the road is banked, then what is the velocity? Okay, that velocity will be equal to root of rg tan theta, where theta is the angle of banking. Okay, and last condition is there, when both friction and banking is present, then velocity will be equal to square root of tan theta plus mu divided by 1 minus mu tan theta rg. Okay, that is the velocity when we have both friction as the banking, and condition should be that the velocity should be greater than root rg tan theta. Then only we can use this formula. Okay, so I hope you all have understood what is banking. Okay, so NEET has asked, they have asked the question from all these concepts. Okay, fine. So let us move on to the numericals part here. The first problem is that a train runs on a unbanked. See, unbanked means which condition we will, which condition we should apply. Unbanked means what? That whenever unbanked they are writing, then it would be which condition? This one, turning of the vehicle on circular road. Here only friction will balance the rotation of the friction force will balance the turning of the vehicle. Okay, so a train runs along the unbanked circular track of radius 30 meter at a speed of 50 kilometer per hour. Okay, the mass of the car is train is 10 to power 6 kg. What is the angle of banking required to prevent the wearing out of the rail? Okay, prevent the wearing out of the rail means to prevent the sliding of the rail. Okay, fine. So can you get the answer for this? So the answer is tan inverse of 1 by 20. No. See the which that whatever I taught you, from simply that we have to use here. If you read this question carefully, the train runs on along the unbanked circular track of radius 30 meter at a speed of 54 kilometer per hour. The mass of the train is means it is initially running on the unbanked road. So they are telling you that how much angle of banking we should do so that it can prevent the rail from it can prevent the wearing out of the rail. Okay, it was moving in a circular path, and we have to bank in such a way that there is no wearing of the rails. Okay, now see in this case how much angle of banking. Now if you look at this the topic which we have discussed here, the angle of banking, that would be equal to how much? Theta equal to tan inverse of v square by rg. Okay, so we have discussed this derivation already, that the tan theta must be equal to v square by rg. So theta should be equal to tan inverse of v square by rg. So simply I can directly use this formula here, that theta must be equal to tan inverse of v square by rg. Tan inverse of v square by rg. Okay, see actually the if you read the question carefully, they are telling you that the train was running on the unbanked road. Okay, okay, because of that unbanked road, there was the wear of the rails. Okay, so in order to prevent the wear of the rail, how much banking we should do so that there should not be wearing of the rails. Okay, fine. So it is actually the question of second. I mistakenly I told you that, but it is the question of second part. Okay, second condition, banking of the road. Okay, tan theta must be equal to v square by rg. Simple it is. Okay, okay, 3 by 4. 3 by 4 will be equal to how much? 37 degree. Correct answer. Okay. So velocity is how much? Velocity is given in kilometer per hour. So can we convert in meter per second? Okay. So what is the velocity in meter per second? That would be equal to how much? 54 into 5 by 18. That will come as 15. So velocity in meter per second will be equal to 15 meter per second. So therefore theta will be equal to tan inverse of 15 into 15 divided by radius of the circle, that is 30, and gravity is 10. Okay. So we'll get the value of tan inverse 3 by 4. Tan inverse of 3 by 4. And we know that tan inverse 3 by 4 is equal to how much? 37 degree. So theta means how much banking we should do? That is 37 degree. Okay, fine. Next, the next problem is that at what angle should the highway be banked for the car? How much? Wait. Why the mass is given? Just to confuse you. There is no use of mass here. So they can give you some data which is not useful in the question. Okay, so don't think that every data can be useful here. Okay, so in sometimes they can give you some data which is not relevant there. Okay, now next problem is that at what angle should a highway be banked for a car traveling at a speed of 100 kilometer per hour if the radius of the road is 400 meter and there is no friction involved? No friction involved means what? It is a case of banking of the road where there is no friction involved there. Okay, so basically this is a problem of banking of the road like this. Fine. So radius of the road is 400 meter. Speed, so first of all speed is in given in kilometer per hour. You have to convert in meter per second. So that would be equal to how much? 500 into 5 divided by 18. That would be 250 by 9. So velocity here will be equal to 250 by 9 meter per second. Now we know that theta angle will be equal to tan inverse of v square by r g. That would be equal to how much? Tan inverse of 250 into 250 by 9 square, which is 81. Okay, into radius 400. Okay, and gravity is 10. Okay, so if you'll solve this, you will get the value will be somewhat around 0.19. Okay, 0.19. If you can solve, you'll get the value as 0.19. So tan theta is 0.19, or we can say that the answer should be equal to theta should be equal to tan inverse of 0.19. Okay, that is your answer. The theta is equal to tan inverse of 0.19. Okay, understood. It is similar to the previous problem which we have done. Now next, the radius of the curvature of the railway line at a place when the train is moving with a speed of 36 km per hour is 1000 meter. The distance between the two rail being 1.5 meter. The distance between the two rail being 1.5 meter. Calculate the elevation of the outer rail above the inner rail so that they may not have the side pressure of the rail. Okay, they may not have the side pressure of the rail. Here mass is not given. Na? In the previous question, mass is not given to us. See, simply they told you the velocity and radius of the road and no friction involved. Okay, fine. Now next is, if the radius of the curvature of the train. Now see, this question is very good. If you read the question carefully, what they are telling you, that we have two rails. One rail, the outer rail is above the inner rail, which means it is a case of banking like this. The outer rail is above the inner rail. This is the inner rail. This is the inner rail. This is the outer rail. Means rail will be there. Okay, this is the rail here. So this is the inner rail. This is the outer rail. So inner rail The inner rail is at some elevation to the outer rail, which means let us suppose some h elevation to the outer rail. Now distance between the two rail they have given as 1.5 meter. So this distance they have already given to us, that is 1.5 meter. This is your angle theta. Okay, fine. Now what they are telling you, that the radius of the curvature of the railway track at the place when the train is moving with the speed of 36 km per hour. First of all, what we have to do, we have to convert 36 km per hour to meter per second. That would be equal to how much? 36 into 5 divided by 18. That will come as 10 meter per second. Therefore, the velocity will be equal to 10 meter per second. Now, how much is the elevation? The elevation will be equal to tan theta. That must be equal to v square by rg. Okay. Now, what is v value? That is 100 means 10 square means 100 by radius is 1000 into g is 10. Okay. So we get tan theta is equal to how much? Tan theta must be equal to 1 by 10. Tan theta is equal to 1 by 100. 1 by 100. Fine. Now it is equal to 1 by 100. Fine. Now we have to find the height, elevation h. So if you look at this triangle, we can say that tan theta must be equal to perpendicular upon base, and base is equal to 1.5. So can we write this as what? H by 1.5 must be equal to 1 by 100. Okay. So it will come as how much? H must be equal to 1.5 by 100. That will come as 0.0153 meters. 0.015 meter. Now, if you look at this, the height of elevation is not too much. You can see that it is only 0.015 meter. But due to this height only, this rail can easily turn on the circular path, because of this banking only. There is a safe turning of the rail. Okay. So answer is how much? 0.015 meter. Okay. Are you all getting this or not? Okay, fine. Next, the next is that a circular track, a circular track of radius 300 meter is banked at an angle of 15 degree. If the coefficient of friction between the wheel of race car and the road is 0.2, what is the optimum speed of the race car to avoid the wear and tear of the tires? That is the first part. And second part is that find the maximum permissible speed to avoid slipping. Okay. Now, if you read this question carefully again, we can see that here we have both the component. One is banked, means the road is banked also, and it has friction also, which means it is a case of third part. Okay. The third case which we have discussed, when there is when there is both friction as well as the banking of the road. Okay. Fine. So directly we'll use the concept from this third part which we have discussed here. Okay. Fine. So will you solve or I will try? Okay, so I'll give you 1 minute. You can try to get this answer. Now, one data is given to you, that tan 15 degree, tan 15 degree is equal to 0.2679. Okay, so tan theta value is given to us. That is 0.2679. 0.2679. That is given in the problem itself. So tan 15 is equal to 0.2679. Okay. So what is the optimum speed, maximum speed? Okay. Now the optimum speed of the race car to avoid wear and tear of the tire is that optimum speed means what? Without friction only we can easily turn the vehicle. Okay, that is the optimum speed na, that when the vehicle is turning on the bank road, we don't require any friction for that. Okay, that would be your optimum speed. Okay, so for the optimum speed, we know that for banking optimum speed is equal to root of rg tan theta. Okay, root of rg tan theta is the optimum speed. Optimum speed means it that we don't require any friction for turning the vehicle. That is v not equal to root rg tan theta. Now r is given to us, that is how much? 300. G is 10. Tan theta value is 0.2679. Okay, so if you solve this, you'll get the optimum speed. The optimum speed will be equal to 28 meter per second. That is the optimum speed of the car. And what is the maximum permissible speed? Now if you look at this here, this was the maximum permissible speed for the vehicle or for the car to be moving on the bank road with friction. Okay, that is tan theta plus mu 1 minus mu tan theta by rg into rg. Okay, so that is your maximum speed. So maximum speed v max will be equal to mu plus tan theta by 1 minus mu tan theta into rg power half. Okay, so mu value is given to us, tan theta value is given to us 1 minus mu tan theta, r is also given to us, g is also given to us. Okay, so if you just substitute the value, okay, you'll get the answer. I have solved this problem. The answer would come as around 38 meter per second, which means whenever the car is moving on a circular track with the banked road, the optimum speed where there is no friction, that is 28 meter per second, and maximum it can go up to 38 meter per second. If it is more than 38 meter per second, there would be slipping of the car and it may slip on the track. Okay, so that is your answer. Fine. I hope you understood this. Okay, okay. Now this problem was came in the NEET exam. Okay, so we can see the problem which was in the NEET is very easy problem they have asked. Okay, a car of mass 1000 kg negotiate on a banked road of radius 90 meter on a frictionless road. If the banking angle is 45 degree, find the speed of the car. Can you get the answer for this? This is very easy problem. You can do it. 30 degree, 30. Okay, very good. So both of you 30. Okay, so I think we can easily do this problem. We have discussed this type of problem like banking angle is given as 45 degree. So we know that tan theta, okay, that must be equal to v square by rg. Okay, v square by rg is tan theta. Understand? So simply v will be equal to root of rg tan theta. Radius is given to us as 90. G we can take as 10, and tan theta is 1 by root 2. 1 by root 2. Okay. So tan 45 degree is equal to 1. Tan 45 degree is equal to 1. So 900, square root of 900 is 30 meter per second. So most of you are getting the answer 30 meter per second. Very good. Okay. Now next part, the next question is that an explosion breaks a rock into three parts. An explosion breaks the rock into three parts in a horizontal plane. Two of them goes at a right angle to each other. First part of mass 1 kg moves with the speed of 12 meter per second. Second part 2 kg moves with the speed of 8 meter per second. If the third part flies with the speed of 4 meter per second, what is the mass? This problem was asked in the NEET exam. Okay. So can you get the answer for this? So here which concept we will apply? We will apply the conservation of linear momentum, because whenever the explosion takes place, the net force is always zero. Okay, so net force during the explosion is zero. So whenever the net force during the explosion is zero, which means linear momentum will be conserved here. So here the momentum of linear momentum will be conserved. Okay, so we have the bomb here, a bomb here. Okay, a rock, sorry, a rock is there. Okay, now this rock breaks into three equal parts. Okay, one part, one part mm, that is of mass 1 kg. Okay, one part is moved with the speed of 12 meter per second. Okay, other part moves with the speed of 8 meter per second. 8 meter per second. The mass which is moving 8 meter per second is 2 kg, and this is what 1 kg. Okay, now let us suppose that now we can see that the 1 kg mass moves along the horizontal, so we can take as 12 pi cap. We can take this or not, 12 pi cap, and we can take the 2 kg mass velocity as 8 j cap, because it is moving on the z axis, y axis, so it will be 8 j cap. Okay, before before explosion it was at rest. Okay, it was at rest, which means velocity was zero before the explosion. Okay, now let us assume that third part, let us assume that the third part moves with some velocity. Okay, the third part moves with some velocity. Okay, fine. Let us suppose v velocity. Now this third part will have two components. One will be along x-axis, that is vx. Other will be along y-axis, that is vy. Okay, fine. Okay, now velocity v which is moving is 4 meter per second. Velocity v which is moving is 4 meter per second. Okay, so the answer is 5 kg. Fine. So we can write here as since the rock explode due to internal force, the momentum is conserved. The linear momentum is conserved here. Linear momentum is conserved, which means momentum along the x and momentum along the y should be conserved here. Okay, so momentum along the x and momentum along the y will be conserved. So what is momentum along the x? Okay, initial momentum before the explosion along the x-axis should be equal to final momentum along the x-axis. Okay, now since the rock was not moving, so initial momentum was zero. What was the final momentum? That is equal to 1 into 12 minus m. Let us suppose the third has a mass m. M into vx. It should not be vy, it should be vx. Okay, this should be vx, this should be vy. Okay, so m into vx. Fine, that is the first equation. So we get mvx equal to how much? 12. That is first equation. Similarly, we can apply for other part. Okay, along the y-axis. So if you apply along the y-axis, 0 must be equal to what? 2 into 8, 2 into 8 minus m into vy. Okay, so we get mvy equal to 16. That is second equation we'll get. Okay, so one equation is mvx, other is mvy. Okay, fine. Now if you look at this, so we can see that the momentum along the x answer is 5 kg. Okay, answer is 5 kg. So we get mvx equal to how much? Mvx equal to 12 and mvy equal to 16. So mvx equal to 12 and mvy equal to 16. mvx means momentum of the third particle along the x-axis, that is px is equal to 12, and mvy means momentum of the third particle along the y-axis, that is 16. Okay, now net momentum will be equal to square root of px square plus py square, that is equal to how much? Square root of 12 square plus 16 square. Okay, so if you solve, you get 200. Okay, so momentum of the third particle is 200 kilogram meter per second. Okay, so the momentum of third particle p3 must be equal to mass of the third particle into velocity v3. Now velocity v3 they have given to us, that is how much? How much velocity they have given to us? 4 meter per second. Okay, so the mass of the particle will be equal to 200 by 4 equal to m3. Okay, it should not be 200, it should be 220, not 200. Okay, it should be 20. Okay, so 20 by 4, therefore mass m3 must be equal to 5 kg. So that is your answer here. Okay, so the answer is 5 kg. So only I think one has got the answer correct. Okay, very good. Now the next problem is that a stone is dropped from a height h. It hits the ground with certain momentum p. If the stone, if the same stone is dropped from the height 100% more than the previous height, the momentum when it hits the ground will change by. Okay, so first case was that the stone is dropped from some height h. Okay, it hits the ground with certain momentum p. Okay, now if the same stone is dropped from the height 100% more than the previous height. Okay, then what the momentum when it hits the ground will be changed by. Okay, can you get the answer for this? How much percentage it will change? Okay, so when you drop the stone from some height h, okay, what is the velocity when it hits the ground? The velocity with which it will hit the ground will be equal to root of 2gh. Okay, that we have already discussed in kinematics 1D. Okay, therefore the momentum when it hits the ground will be equal to mass into velocity, that is root of 2gh. Now the height is doubled, means 100% more than means, now in next case the height is doubled. Now when it height is doubled, what is the velocity when it is hitting the ground? That would be equal to v, that is equal to root of 2g into 2h. Okay, 2g into 2h, which means momentum in the second part p2 is mass into velocity, that is equal to root of 4gh. Okay, that is the new momentum when you are dropping from 2h height. This is the momentum when you are dropping from height h. Okay, so what is the change in momentum? Okay, the percentage change in momentum will be equal to what? P2 minus P by P into 100%. Okay, which means what? Now we can write this as what? We can write this as root 2 times of P, because root m into root 2g is equal to P itself. So P2 can be written as root 2P. So if you put the value of P2 here, it would be root 2 P minus P by P into 100%. Okay. So if you solve this, you'll get the percentage as 41 percentage. So momentum will change by 41 percentage. Okay. Fine. So I think you understood this problem or not. So the answer will be 41 percentage. Okay. So today we have finished the Newton's law of motion. Tomorrow we'll start with work, power, energy. Any slide you want me to show? I'll show that. Any doubt you can ask me. So today we have started from this slide, that is 43, then 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58. Okay. So thank you all.